The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Magicbricks webinar, our endeavor to empower you with insights on the Indian real estate market performance and consumer sentiments on property prices in the next 6 months. The topic of today's session is Buyers Opt Rupees 30 to 50 lakh budget. Magicbricks experts reveal best localities. And our guest speaker today is E. Jayashree Kuru. She is the head content and research with Magicbricks. She is involved in a number of global research initiatives and specializes in analyzing research data to provide usable solutions to users. She also works with business in using industry dialogues with senior management in her domains of expertise to generate content solutions that keep audience and industry engaged. She has been a business journalist for over 2 decades with the Times of India, the Economic Times, and the Financial Express. She writes extensively on real estate and infrastructure, city management, information technology, HR, and management. So, without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Jayashree.
Thank you, Aradhana. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm very pleased to share the PropIndex April to June 2014. The PropIndex, as you know, is an apartment index evolved by Magicbricks.com based on the data that we mine from the back end of the portal. This has been run through a complex set of algorithms to arrive at an index which actually shows you city-wise what the trends have been in the past quarter. This also allows you to understand how different localities, different types of properties, and different segments of the market are behaving in that quarter. Let me take you quickly through what has come through in the PropIndex in this quarter. As you know, PropIndex is a tool that provides detailed information on price movement, supply, and user demand for multi-story apartments and single floors across cities. It covers the national index, which is we aggregate the data from at the locality level, which is indexed to the city level, that is indexed to the national index. And one property index value is arrived. It tells you if it has moved from 100 to 105, that means it is a function of the amount of property listings on the site as well as the prices and the movement of prices. These two features are then used to arrive at an index value. We create a city property index trend which tells you how each individual city has performed over a period of time. The listed price monitor tells you how price movements have happened, and the rent monitor allows you to understand the rental value trends. There is an yield meter. The price, capital values versus the rental values gives you the yield. It tells you what localities are preferred, what are the demand and supply metrics in the city. It tells you what price ranges the locality functions within, and it also tells you what the real estate news has been in that quarter. This time's PropIndex is very interesting. It takes the period just before the elections and during the elections, and it tells you what the consumer sentiment in the market was. It is a clear insight into how the property buyers are looking at the markets. The PropIndex remained largely stable, which is what is happening in the market too. Consumers are actively looking, but they are not really going ahead and making big purchases as yet. And especially in the April to June segment, this was a slow process, and that is why the index has remained stable, just a 1% rise. Delhi's index has dropped marginally by about 4%. That's the highest in the quarter. Among all the cities, Delhi has registered the highest drop. Ahmedabad and Hyderabad had registered a marginal 1% drop, but that is a function of the market had not really started picking up, and that has corrected itself subsequently. There has been a drop in demand for affordable properties. Very interesting. The budget of up to 20 lakh has shown a negligible 1% demand, but luxury demand rose very high to a 3% growth. For the luxury segment, in absolute values, that becomes a large volume of demand. However, most developers have been building in this category. Therefore, the supply is still ahead of demand, but the demand is growing at a robust pace. Rental values across cities have either dropped or stabilized. This does not mean that rental values have plummeted across cities. What this means is that rental values, which had risen in the last 2 quarters, has more or less corrected itself, and there is a average rental value that is prevailing across markets. Let's take the Delhi NCR. I'll quickly take you to through the city trends. In the Delhi NCR, you saw that 70% of localities recorded a drop in rental values, which means that the last quarter saw a rise, this quarter saw a drop, so it's more or less at the same level. Sarita Vihar, Malviya Nagar, Alaknanda and Kalkaji registered the maximum drop. These were also, incidentally, the localities that had registered the maximum rise. So when property values go beyond a certain point and it reaches unrealistic levels, then the market corrects itself and kind of finds its own level. Over 60% of localities recorded a 1 to 9% drop in capital values. When consumers are not buying, then sellers start bringing prices to a more realistic level, and that is what is reflected in the capital values here. Greater Kailash 1, Rohini sector 13 and 24 and Vikaspuri recorded a drop of about 5 to 9%. These values tell you what happened in the previous quarter, but remember that after the elections there has been a significant rise in sentiment, and therefore these are only a benchmark of how the markets have performed in the previous quarter. Uttam Nagar is a very interesting market. It has noted the maximum rise in supply, followed by Safdarjung Enclave. Both Uttam Nagar and Safdarjung Enclave are key determining markets. Here, there is a lot of redevelopment happening in both these markets, and the amount of supply and the type of supply and the kind of values that new supply is recording makes these very important markets. There was an oversupply of 4 BHK and above. As I said, luxury properties, there's more supply than demand, even though the demand has been steadily rising. In Gurgaon, Sona Road continued to be the preferred residential destination as in the last quarter. There was a 39% demand for units worth 1 to 2 crores. That has become the 1 to 2 crore and the 60 to 1 crore category has about a quarter of the market share in Gurgaon, and these are active market segments. Rental returns in the city vary from 2 to 3%. This really means that if you bought the property at a certain price and you're getting a rental return every month, you compute the return on your investment basis these two values. 3 BHK continued to be the preferred size in the Gurgaon market, and over 80% localities remained either stable or a slight drop in rental values. So Gurgaon's rental market has been relatively stable. In Noida, capital values remain stable, so the index value was more or less the same. The rental drop was recorded in sectors such as 29, 50, 62, 82, and 93, between 1 to 5%. Remember, there are two reasons for this. No major commercial establishments are coming up in Noida yet, even though a large number of IT companies have actually picked up land. And these will take about 2 to 3 years to come up as large-scale campuses, which will again start driving demand. So the supply that has come into the market right now, the new supply in sectors 44, 78, 93, 100, 104, where these properties have reached possession stages, and you find that people are exiting from older localities to newer ones where the facilities are a little more. And this is a temporary phenomenon. However, in the Noida market, there is a lot of supply coming in, so we expect rental values to remain under pressure. About 77% of demand was concentrated for properties worth above rupees 60 lakh. The IT professionals working in IT segment in Noida seem to be driving the residential market here. The supply is still behind by about 10% in the 60 lakh category. 2 BHK is the demand is about half the demand, and there is more demand than supply even in the 2 BHK category. In Ghaziabad, unlike the other parts of the Delhi NCR, Ghaziabad noted a rise of 1 to 3% in capital values. Ghaziabad's metro has been a key determining factor in, and also the fact that the prices are relatively more affordable than the rest of the NCR. It offered them high rental returns in comparison to other parts of the Delhi NCR, and over 40% of demand was for the 40 to 70 lakh. It's the mid-range, the lower mid-range that is very, very active in the Ghaziabad market. Demand for 2 BHK units went up a little, marginally by about 3%, and it is over 50% of the demand. The supply was marginally low, it lagged the demand by about 9%. Let's go to the western region very quickly. Mumbai was stable, minor rise or drop of 1 to 4%, which is actually fairly negligible. Over 40% of demand in Mumbai was for 2 BHK units, except in South Mumbai and beyond Thane zones. So in South Mumbai, the demand was for larger units. Beyond Thane zones, it was for smaller units. But by and large, if you take an average, in Mumbai, 2 BHK units was the most in demand. Properties priced between 1 to 2 crore was the second most supplied, mainly in western suburbs, in places like Kandivali, Andheri East, Malad West, Andheri West, Goregaon East. But there was an oversupply of about 6% in the 2 crore and above category, which again is in line with what I started with. Luxury properties have more supply than demand, even though demand is good. 1 and 2 BHK, there was a huge demand of about 87%. Supply was only 75%, but this is largely in the areas on the suburbs. Places like Thane, places like Navi Mumbai, these all have a huge demand, which amounts to about 87% of the demand. East and West Pune remained preferred residential corridors quarter on quarter. About 85% of demand and supply was for apartments. Now, Mumbai anyway is an apartment city. Pune is moving to become an apartment city. The demand from IT and manufacturing industry professionals is driving the demand for apartments. Demand for plots continue to outstrip supply across regions except in central Pune. This demand, the demand for plots, is largely from the traditional Puneite who's still shopping around for good plotted developments. Nearly 60% of the supply in the city was for properties priced at 60 lakh to 1 crore, which is in line with other cities where the professionals are largely willing to spend about 60 lakh, upwards of 60 lakh and up to about 2 crore on an average. About 60% of the localities saw a drop in rental values, which was again because the previous quarter it registered a rise. Take Ahmedabad. In West Ahmedabad, it remained the most active region in commercial and residential, with a large number of housing schemes by government as well as the private sector. There was a growing demand for 40 to 70 lakh, which is the lower mid segment, which has been Ahmedabad's strongest category. There is some demand in the lower segment also. However, the return on investment in and around commercial hubs in places like Vejalpur, SG Highway, Prahlad Nagar, that has risen significantly. 3.4 to 4.2 is a very good rental return. Vadodara is a market that we have been tracking every 6 months, and we've noticed that in Vadodara, Old Padara Road, Samasavli Road, Vagodia Road, Gotri and Gotri Road are witnessing the maximum development. It's an active real estate market, a smaller market than the large metros, but significant nevertheless. The demand was for affordable to mid-segment properties worth 20 to 60 lakh. The smaller the city, the lower the price ranges. It is about 78% of the demand, while supply was lagged demand by about 12%. 2 and 3 BHK units was about 86% of the demand, while supply was only about 75%. Again, a city that is newly come into the apartment culture and strong, robust demand for apartments here. The south and east are interesting markets. In Bangalore, which is Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore are the key determinant markets in the country. The consumers have been in the wait and watch mode after the elections, and the market has been mostly passive. The Bangalore market never really took a dip, but it is remaining stable till the consumer decides to buy healthy buying starts again. The Sarjapur Road and Banerghatta Road, followed by Electronic City and Kanakpura Road, witnessed the maximum development. 64% of residential demand was for 40 to 16 lakh and 60 to 1 crore, while the supply was only 46%. Now, remember that this is a market that is driven by both the BPO segment as well as the IT segment, all segments of the IT segment, as well as a small amount of manufacturing. The Bangalore market has posted very realistic figures, and 40 to 60 and 60 to 100 are the largest demand segments. North and South Bangalore offered the maximum number of property options across budget ranges. North Bangalore, as you know, is the portion between the new airport and Bangalore city, and has there has been a significant amount of development. The 2 BHK category remained the preferred size with just over 50% of demand. Supply was lagged a little bit, about 8% lag, but that is there is active construction happening, so I don't think that's a significant lag. Chennai, about 60% of the demand was for 2 BHK units. Chennai is another city that is transitioning from the plotted development to the apartment culture, and here again the apartment demand is by professionals from the IT as well as the manufacturing segment. South Chennai continued to be a preferred residential zone, with almost 2/3 of the localities among the top 10 preferred lists. OMR, GST, and Porur have the maximum launches in the April to June 2014 quarter, which shows that the supply has again restarted in the Chennai market. A lot of new launches happening here. About 50% of localities reported a small rise of about 1 to 5% in capital values, and about 34% registered a drop. This is more or less, the city index remained at about 1% rise. It is a stable market. It is a market that is showing healthy demand and healthy supply. In line with the rest of the country, it's a slow market, but it is still rising. Hyderabad, a market that is largely benefited from the resolution of the Telangana issue, was 60% reported a drop in rental values, but about over 50% of the demand was for 2 BHK units. But 25% demand was for residential plots, and South Hyderabad recorded the maximum demand, followed by the North. But in Hyderabad, you must remember that it is a market in a constant state of flux, and every month there is a change in the property dynamics. So, and there is no one value that you can hold in Hyderabad that this is what is going to happen. Hyderabad, there is a lot of excitement in the market. There is a lot of buyer interest and seller interest in the market. It is a market that is extremely dynamic and needs to be tracked carefully. Kolkata, you saw that the city had maximum residential development in South and East Kolkata, followed by North Kolkata. But 90% of the localities tracked had a rise in prices of about 1 to 8%. Small rise, but rise nevertheless. Maximum demand and supply was for the 20 to 40 lakh segment. In any market where the demand is only from the city itself and not from the rest of the other people who are coming into the city to work. Remember, Kolkata has does not have so much commercial development happening. As a result, the demand is very local, and 20 to 40 lakh is the maximum demand. The second highest demand was for the 40 to 60 lakh, which is about a quarter of the demand, but the supply is slightly lower here. Now, why should you use an index? This is, if you look at what's happening in the property market, whenever you want to benchmark the property that you have chosen, either as a buyer or either as an end user or as an investor, you really need to understand what is the average price in that area. There have been many, many instances of users who, without adequate research, have plunged into the property market and have not checked the credentials of the developers, are not aware whether what they're paying is the right price for that property, are not aware what kind of returns they should expect. And these are all things that you should be looking at when you are putting in a lot of money to buy property. Remember, property is one of the largest value of investments that you're making, and when you buy a car, when you buy a stock, you are doing so much research. In property, Magicbricks is actually facilitating you to get the tools with which you can do your research. It's no use asking somebody, should I buy this property or that property? The best way is to figure out what is the average value in that locality, what is the capital values in that locality, who are the developers there, what is the track record of the developers, have they been developing on time, are they, is there a good rental return, so that when your house comes into possession stage, are you able to get a good return for the investment that you put in? These are all critical factors, and I think increasingly consumers are understanding this. When it comes to real estate developers, we feel that having indexed values is very important if you are going to price a property. Traditionally, property developers have been building in one city alone, and they know the market the best. But when you venture out of your comfort zone, which increasingly a lot of developers are doing, and go into other markets, you really need to understand what is the demand there, who is buying there, what is the profile of the buyer, what is the benchmark property values there. If the demand is for apartments and you are going to release plots, then maybe you're misreading the market. These are all important things for the developers to understand, especially if you are new to the new developers. You may have been land bankers, you may have been in other industries who have chosen to become developers in the new scenario where everything is getting values, the rules are getting sorted out. There is huge buyer interest, and it is an attractive segment to enter. For government officials and for ministries of urban development, whenever values are actually a monitor of governance. If you can see that values are going up in one place but going down in another, it actually tells government officials where the interventions need to be done. Property values are dependent on a very large number of factors. It could be the transport corridors, the access to transport. It could be a metro, it's a significant impactor. It could be urban infrastructure projects such as drainage, sewerage, water, power, backup supply. All these impact property values, and it tells you how the consumers or the citizens in the city are actually taking to the announcements made by governments. Construction organizations can actually forecast demand and supply if they know what kind of supply is coming in and what kind of demand there is. So using metrics is important for all segments of the market. For your ease, we have actually put in a lot of information on how we have computed. We have about 12 cities that are being tracked, 620 localities. Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, Bangalore are the big metros. The Pune, Hyderabad, Ahmedabad, Vadodara, Noida, Gurgaon, and Ghaziabad are the other cities. We have capital and rental value trends quarterly. Yield on investment is something that is tracked in every issue. There's extensive user and demand analytics. When you search on the site, when you post a listing on the site, all of those are deconstructed into statistics which go into the creation of the PropIndex. The top 10 preferred localities city-wise shows you how consumers are taking to different localities. If you have a budget, there is a home waiting for you somewhere. If you want to know where the house of your dreams is, go and check out. In addition to the PropIndex, we have put this online. Do visit propindex.magicbricks.com and you will be able to access the report and read it at your leisure. Also remember that real estate policies are very important. Real estate is a highly sensitive market. So in the new snippet, we have actually tried to bring to you what are the policy changes that have happened in the localities. Thank you so much. And I would be happy to take any questions that you have.
Thanks for the insightful presentation. Let's quickly take up the questions now. As you have just mentioned, I request you to read out the questions and the answers so that all our users may listen to your insights.
Sure.
Are you able to see the questions coming into you?
Yes, I am. Just a minute. There is Raman Mehta, who has asked, who wants to know more about the options in the 40 to 60 lakh budget in Noida. Raman, the whole purpose of making this presentation is to make you understand that there are many options that you have, but no one person can tell you what are your options. I would suggest come to magicbricks.com, put in your budget, search for properties in Noida. You will see a very large volume of properties that come up. Once you've seen what your options are, use the PropIndex to understand what the benchmarks are. What is the market values what are the values within which this market operates, and that will tell you whether you are investing within the range of the market or whether that property is priced above or below. If it is below, do question why it is below the value. If it is above the range in the market, ask what is the extra that is being given to you so that you will be able to understand. I can actually, let me quote the PropIndex, and PropIndex has a section called Home in Your Budget. If you go to propindex.magicbricks.com and open the Noida section, you will be able to see that there is a section called Home in Your Budget. You have asked for the options within 40 to 60 lakh. According to, in the period that we were talking about, sectors 74, 76, 78, 118 and 120 had options of 40 to 60 lakh. But do your research very carefully, because while anybody can tell you, when you actually see the properties that are on the website, you will be able to see what are the elements of the property, what are the attributes of the property, and you will be able to make your choice better. I hope you have found the answer useful. There is another user called Ankur Chabra who wants to know what is the capital value and rental values of Navi Mumbai. Ankur, Navi Mumbai is a huge area. When you select a property, you should be able to understand why you are buying whichever part of the city you're buying in. In Navi Mumbai, for instance, if you haven't even mentioned what your budget is. If you are a premium buyer, there are lots of properties. If you are a buyer who has about 30 lakh, upwards of 30 lakh, you still have options. But you have to understand why you're buying whichever property you're buying. Therefore, you'll need to give a little more details before we can help you. However, go to our Mumbai section of PropIndex, and you will be able to see that Navi Mumbai, different localities of Navi Mumbai have featured in the capital and rental values. You can also see the yields that each locality is giving. Now, if you are an end user, please make sure that the access from wherever you're buying your property to wherever you're living should be easy. Otherwise, you would have it would be like being penny wise, pound foolish, because you would have saved on the capital value of the property, but you would not know whether it is, it would be inconvenient for you. If you're purely looking at it as an investment, check out the yield meter. It will tell you where you can get the best yields for your property values, right? Let me go on to another question. I have Girish Bindal here, who says he has bought a house in Noida sector 82. He bought it in 2010 at 72 lakhs. It is now valued at rupees 82 lakhs. The appreciation is not similar to other markets in the Delhi NCR. Would you suggest I sell my property in Noida and shift to Gurgaon? I want capital appreciation and some rental income too. Now, Girish, the point that you have picked up is something that many people are facing. The Noida market has had the maximum amount of sales in the last few years. That is because there was a change of norms and a lot of authority land went in for private development, because the authority was allowing developers to purchase land from the authority and build on it. Also, because there was it was amortized over a period of time, the developers could actually afford to give out properties at much lower rates than the rest of the NCR. As a result, a very large volume of property is currently under construction or in the possession stages in Noida market. When there is more supply in the market, the chances of values jumping is low. So if you're looking at very steep rise in values, you may not get that. what will happen is if you may get a good rental return today. If you are looking at exiting a market, do your market research and figure out whether the value you're getting for your property is good. And if you exit this market, and does this give you enough to buy? You have mentioned Gurgaon. Does this give you enough to buy in Gurgaon? If it does so, there is no harm in exiting an investment. You've already held it for 4 years. 4 to 5 years is a good period for you to hold the property and then exit and reinvest your money. So I would say that you have to take this call basis what I have told you so far. What is the inventory level? Ankush Chabra has asked, what is the combined inventory level for metro cities? Has it increased, decreased, or stabilized post-elections? Ankur, inventory has nothing to do with elections. Do consider that in the last 2 years, the property markets have been extremely slow. When the markets are slow, a lot of developers who would otherwise have kept on launching projects have actually held back some of the launches to wait for better times and have gone into construction of the projects that they have launched. This has resulted in a large amount of supply hitting the markets across the board. If you look at the supply levels in all markets, it would have increased a lot, and this is a good time for end users to get out and start looking. You have a window of another 3 to 4 months before prices start inching upwards. The way we see it, there is very, very high activity of end users who are looking for properties. The volume of sales has not yet picked up. We expect that the volume of sales will pick up once the consumer is sure that the banking norms and other norms have been actually spelled out by the government. I think today the consumer is only holding back to see that the government declares all its policies before they actually make the investment. In the budget, the government has clearly indicated that housing is a very, very significant sector for it, and it's giving it a lot of thought. The fact that the Prime Minister has called all the urban development ministers and come out with a Delhi declaration on how to reach the figure of a house for every family by the 75th year of Indian independence shows that the government is taking its housing policy very seriously. So keep watching the policy perspective, and if you find a house that you like, buy it. It won't, prices are not likely to come down anymore. What will happen is it will either remain stable or go up. So if you find something that suits you, I would suggest buy immediately. There is Naveen Pawar who said, I want to know about the future development in Panvel, whether the airport is coming out or not in Panvel. Naveen, if I had a crystal glass, I would have gazed into it and told you when it is going to come. The problem here is that the government has made many, many announcements about this airport that would come in Panvel. Also remember that because so many announcements came, a lot of the leveraged value has actually been capitalized by the developers. So it's not as though there was a virgin land where the government declared that an airport would come, and therefore you got the leverage value because a large infrastructure project is coming. Even if the project starts coming, it would take at least another 3 to 4 years before, if they start now, before the airport can significantly impact property values. I would say if Panvel suits you in the long term, purchase it. But remember that if you're getting into the Panvel market, be a long-term investor. There are no short-term gains in Panvel. Soumya John has asked, do you anticipate a shift in the demand patterns, especially in the mid-range housing, based on the provisions of the recent budget? Soumya, demand patterns don't change with the budget. It's not that the government has made it easier for you to buy in the mid-range. It all depends on what the stock in the market is and at what values they are being sold. The Indian consumer is extremely price sensitive, so if it is not value for money, the Indian consumer is not going to buy. When you want to buy a property, instead of looking at whether the demand patterns will shift, go with what you think is important. And if you think that is a good property, please go ahead and buy. Otherwise, I would say that, otherwise your whole attitude to the property market becomes highly speculative. Property is a long-term investment. It is not an easily liquefied investment, so it's not liquid at all. It is something that you have to think before you put your money in and hold it before you get the adequate returns. I would also like to add one more point here, Soumya. We have noticed that wherever there is a strong economic driver like IT or manufacturing, there has been a lot of demand for mid-range properties when the cities are small. For instance, Ahmedabad, Vadodara, you see the lower end of the middle class range being very active, and when you go to the larger cities, the upper segment, 60 to 80 lakhs, sometimes up to 1 crore in Delhi and Mumbai, these are the active markets. So does one size fit all? I don't think there's any one answer that will fit all markets. There is a question from the TechGig moderator. How do you think the new airport in Panvel will affect the property market? As in, by how much do you think the property rates go up in Panvel because of the airport construction? The question was from Namrata Hegde. I think this came in a mail and our moderator has posted this query. Namrata, I have just talked about the Panvel market. The Panvel the drivers of Panvel are many. Remember that there is a Naina area that is coming up in beyond Navi Mumbai. And that is the new airport, the localities, the area that is going to be impacted by the new airport. Now, there is a whole, this is bigger than maybe the rest of Mumbai. The amount of property, the area that is being covered by Naina is much bigger than Mumbai. So it's a huge, huge development. So if you ask me how things pan out on the other side also impacts. It's not only the airport. It is what kind of facilities, what kind of planning, what kind of social infrastructure comes up in the Naina area will also impact Panvel, because Panvel is strategically positioned between Navi Mumbai and the Naina area. So also keep a watch out on the Naina announcements. What is the capitalization rate of for Noida and Yamuna Expressway projects? This question has been asked by Ankur Chabra. Ankur, Noida and Yamuna, I'm assuming that you're asking about the Noida Expressway and the Yamuna Expressway. The Yamuna Expressway is very early in its cycle of development. There is a lot of development happening there, and many developers have projects there. But Yamuna Expressway is very early in its cycle. If you ask me, and this is something that I had discussed with a lot of experts in the market, the Yamuna Expressway property, if it had been at a priced a little lower, then there would be a large case for going and buying in the outskirts, and its values would have grown. But Yamuna Expressway has been positioned as a premium area, so a lot of consumers have bought at higher values. Now, Yamuna Expressway's growth is highly linked to where the usage is going to come from. It depends on what kind of commercial properties there are, what kind of economic development is going to happen there, and how fast the area is going to develop in terms of physical infrastructure, the assets, how long will it take to be constructed. Also remember that the Noida Expressway, it's got a lot of commercial development happening. As I said earlier, a large number of IT companies have bought campus projects here, campus space here. By the time this comes up, the residential developments will also be completed, and then there will be another rise in demand. So whether it's Noida Expressway or Yamuna Expressway, the demand is a little more in the future. Noida Expressway in the immediate future, Yamuna Expressway in the distant future. I have Sachin who has asked, please provide details for which locality is good in and around Pune to stay with my family. My budget is 4 45 lakhs to 55 lakhs and I'm looking for a 2 BHK apartment. Sachin, again, as I said earlier, come to Magicbricks, put in your request, go to the Pune section, put in your request, and you will be able to see a lot of properties there. Nobody can tell you where you should be staying. This is how you should be looking for a property. You know that your budget is between 45 and 55 lakhs, and you know you want a 2 BHK apartment. Go to the website, put in your property, put in your request, and you will get a range of properties, right? Once you get a range, look at the areas where you can afford to buy property that fits into your budget. Now, out of that, please ensure that you are picking up, because you're looking at a place to stay in with your family, there are some aspects of the market that you should be looking at. Are there schools, hospitals, entertainment centers, retail centers, maybe whatever you need in your daily needs, the social infrastructure, is it good there? Because otherwise you would have bought a property and you would have to spend a lot in going, in traveling and things like that. Also look at the developers who are there. Are these developers that you would like to go with? How do you check whether you would like to go with a developer? Check the track record. Check whether others are happy. It is always also a good idea to even go and check out some of the developments they've done earlier and hand it over. Try and talk to a few of the people. Are they happy in that development? That is the best way of assessing whether that is a good developer to go with. Also, if it is very far from wherever you're working or your children are studying, that may make it inconvenient. So do choose according to your conveniences. I've got Chetan Modi who says, I have 30 lakh to put in and I am from Hyderabad. Do you think I would be luckier investing in a plot in Jubilee Hills, or should I move it in a plot in Jubilee, or should I move it in a flat in one of the good localities? I have heard land appreciates faster. Land appreciates more, not faster. Land appreciates slower. So Chetan, don't go after, as I said, property is not a short-term investment. Property is a long-term investment. If with 30 lakh, you should be able to get apartments in Manikonda, Miapur, Nizampet, Kukatpalli, Bowenpalli, according to our research. You can also go to the site and check out. If you find land and it is from a reputed developer, you know that the land is within gated communities, then it is easy for you as an individual to hold. But if you go and buy property from small aggregators, you don't know how long that property will take to rise in values. Also, you may not be able to look after your land very well. So I would always say small investors should actually look at built-up property where there is a developer who's maintaining and managing that property, and you get a good rental return while you're looking for leverage values to rise. Soumya John has again asked another question. Which are the tier 2 destinations that hold potential as investment destinations to be most active in the next 5 to 10 years? Or is it safer to invest in tier 1 cities? Soumya, please, if you're investing in a city, you must understand its market. While there has been a lot of talk about tier 2 cities yielding good returns, the economic drivers in tier 2 cities has not grown to the extent that was expected earlier. Maybe because the global markets have slowed down and the Indian markets were slow too. So I would always say that if tier 1 markets are doing well, the ones that are doing well is where you should be investing. Also check out whether there is an oversupply. Don't buy in places where there is oversupply. Otherwise, you will be stuck with the property, and you will have to hold it for a long period of time. You do have a good horizon of 5 to 10 years, but do go with cities that you are familiar with. I've got Anjali Muhawat who has said, is it a good idea to buy a plot of 2 to 5 lakh and construct a double story over it and sell it afterwards for gaining maximum returns. First of all, Anjali, I don't think any market currently is giving you a plot of land at 2 to 5 lakh. You haven't mentioned the city. If it is from a local small developer who does not have a good standing and therefore is selling at low rates, there is a very, very high risk, and I would say that that is a dangerous thing to do. Also remember that constructing a double-story house and by yourself and then finding a buyer for it is going to be more difficult for you. It is much easier to go for a property that is being developed by a professional developer, where you can either lease it out or you can stay yourself. You can exit the property once the project value goes up. Kanchana Dwarkanath has asked, where can I get 2 BHKs below the 50 lakh range in North Bangalore? Kanchana, North Bangalore areas have been very, very active in the last couple of years. As I said, the North Bangalore areas are between the new airport and Bangalore city. There are properties in all ranges there. The range that you have mentioned is up to 50 lakh. Now, there are, you would be able to get, I think, some properties. It shows me properties in Heno Road. I think the value, the price that you have is a little lower than what we have on the site. However, I would encourage you to go to the site, put in your range, and see what are the property options you have. Go with again, remember, go with a good developer, go with somebody who has a good track record and also has been regularly handing over property. Look for a property where your stretch is not more than what you can afford. If you're saying 50 lakh and you think there is another property, while 50 lakh, in case you don't get what you're looking for, but you get something for 60 lakh, it's always a good idea to stretch if you can possibly stretch a little bit. Otherwise, I would say that look around some more, you will find the property that you want. Prarthana Singh has said, should I sell or hold on to my multi-story property in Sector 90, Manesar, Gurgaon? What are the future prospects of this area? I haven't seen much increase in the last 2 years. Prarthana, Manesar, Nimrana, and Bhiwadi, these are all very close to or on the Delhi-Mumbai industrial corridor. As you know, the corridor should have come up at least 5 years ago, but there has not been much traction in the past. However, in the budget, the government has clearly indicated DMIC as one of the growth corridors that it is pushing, and these are on the corridor and therefore have good prospects. It would be a mistake to exit it. If you've already held it for 2 years, it would be a mistake to exit it now. Wait for the values to rise a little more if you can hold on to it. In case you need the money immediately, then I don't think you're getting the highest value, but the future value is more than the present value. Roshan Goba says, cities like Pune have high demand of 1 BHK property for rent. So is it a wise idea to buy a property and then earn rental returns? If yes, please let me know the best locality to do so. Roshan, the 1 BHK is a very, very attractive segment in the Indian property market across cities. What has happened is that the 1 BHK properties are largely in demand with young professional workforces who are looking for properties to stay in. Currently, what is happening is that 1 BHK was not a very robust category in the Indian market. Developers were not constructing in that category. As a result, there was a lot of demand but not enough supply. People who would have preferred to stay in independent units of 1 BHK are currently pooling their resources and picking up 2 or 3 BHK units and staying in 1 room each and, kind of sharing apartments. It is a good idea to pick up a 1 BHK if you get it. And in a city like Pune, which has a strong educational driver as well as IT and ITES, there would always be a good demand for this. Sunil Madhuram says, cities like Mumbai do not offer quality assets in the 30 to 50 lakh range. What can be the solution for such buyers having modest budget? Is moving to a suburb the right option where roads are not properly built or have rural setup? The rural setup is not conducive to anybody who's working in a large city. There are two ways of looking at it. Buy a property in a place where you can that you can afford. It may be in the suburbs or the periphery. It has future value. The present value is lower and you can afford it. But don't look at that as the place that you want to stay in. Once you've invested that, try and get a good option where you pay a small amount now and then it is construction linked or maybe at possession or something like that, so that your outflow is limited currently, and continue to stay on rent in a place that is suitable to you. Because otherwise the sheer pressure of traveling to your workplace and back will take all the advantage of being a house owner. When your property is ready, if you feel that that is not very good for you to travel to from your workplace, you can continue to put that on rent and use the rental returns to either pay off your EMIs or to subsidize your rental in the city. We are reaching the end of our show, and I would take another 3 questions. I've got a question from Manish Lakhwani, who says, Hyderabad's Uppal locality offers bungalow unit in 35 lakh as written in Magicbricks. Can we say Hyderabad is too affordable for end users but not from investment point of view? Manish, I don't agree. I think the prospects of Hyderabad's market is very, very high. The Hyderabad market, the values suffered for years because of the Telangana row. Now that problem is sorted out, there's a very, very healthy buyer interest in Hyderabad. There is going to be more development in the Telangana region wherever the government decides to make its new capital. But remember that all the major IT companies have actually procured more land in Hyderabad, and there's going to be a growth in its commercial prospects. Whenever there is growth in commercial prospects, especially in the software development and IT segment, there will be more residential demand, and there will nobody can say that Hyderabad is too affordable for end users and not for investment. You will get good rental returns, the leverage values will go up, Hyderabad's prospects are good. Raman Mehta lives in Ranchi but would prefer to buy a flat in a big city as his kids would be going in for higher education and may eventually settle there. Do you think it would be a complex situation if I were to invest in a city that I only read about and have not lived there at all? Raman, that is why we ask you to do your research. It doesn't matter where you are. When you come to Magicbricks, the advice section, or to the PropIndex section, you will be able to do your research, and you will be able to see what other users are talking about that locality. For instance, if you're looking at Delhi, Pune, Mumbai, whichever big city you're looking at, go to the advice section, check out what the trends are, check out what the price trends are, where can you afford it, and I would suggest that if you're buying it for your children, do buy in a place where the educational institutions are there so that your children will benefit from your investment. And don't buy very large apartments because it is for your children who are going to be living there. Don't buy very small apartments and in very outflung areas because that is not, it may not be very convenient for them. Look at all the parameters and then make your choice. Now I'm taking the last question by Giriraj Konner. Should I depend on speculation as well before purchasing? A lot of these speculations turn out to be true. Do prices stagnate after a point of time even in a good market? Yes, prices do stagnate even in the best of markets. It depends. It depends on how much stock there is in the market, how much demand there is in the market. There are local drivers. Sometimes an infrastructure project can drive up demand. A metro is a very good demand driver. We've seen that areas that are along the metro can rise in values from 15 to 25%, and it is happening in city after city. And remember, all Indian cities are being under redevelopment. When there is redevelopment, there is bound to be variations in value. So buy for the intrinsic value of the property rather than short-term gains. The gains have to be long-term. Property is a good, wise investment, so invest wisely. My suggestion to all of you is, we've made PropIndex available to all of you so that you have something that you can use as a benchmark. We have also made a very strong advice section where consumers can look at what others are saying, can ask queries which we answer. We get experts to answer. We facilitate interactions between you and the experts on a regular basis. All this helps you to make a better and wiser decision. So I hope all of you do your research well, understand the dynamics of the market that you're investing in, and make a lot of money out of your property investments. Thank you so much for joining us.
And I'm really thankful to our guest speaker today for conducting this informative webinar with us. It was indeed a great session. I would also like to thank all our participants for their support in making this webinar a success. Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, Jayashree, for taking the time out and having us. I hope you have a great evening ahead.
Thank you, Aradhana, and thank you to all my users for joining us online.
Thank you, ma'am. We will close now. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.